welcome everyone who's already here. I don't know how many people are watching us. Welcome to the next E-Commerce Growth Meetup. Is Meta fueling growth or burning our budget? Exciting topic. I feel like we could talk about it every year actually, and be the same.
Every quarter.
Every quarter. Someone has a problem with Meta. I don't know how is it with you, Alec, but I always get these questions when I go into town for lunches and meetings, and people are like, is Meta still working? Or like, is it still a good channel? Or I heard it's not a good channel anymore. But then you get these stats, uh, and it looks like, well, it's still the biggest social media platform. Everyone is there. So it's like, it kind of might not be working as good as it used to, but still people are using it. So, I mean, in the end of the day, we kind of have to figure out how to use it because otherwise we're missing the opportunity to reach our customers. So,
More and more expensive, but I think like still works for most of our clients. It's like the matter of like analytics.
or actually how you use it, yeah, because I
Or how
think
you use it, yeah.
that's really a question that we will try to answer today. Okay, things are changing, especially digital marketing. It's like something that worked 2 years ago might not be working anymore, and we kind of have to get used to this fact. So the fact that Meta is not working as it used to be working is something that we kind of should expect. If we think it should be the same, it's like, well, not in this world. I don't know if there's any area of business and life where things are all the same. I don't know, maybe church, yeah, but maybe let's go there. Let's go there. For some, the reason that's losing popularity. So, okay, so let's get started. So, welcome. Welcome to you guys. My name is Eva Wysocka. I'm the CEO of Tribe 47. I'm also a founder of Portal Yogi and
And I'm Arkadiusz Wiśniewski, CEO and co-founder at Sublime Analytics Platform.
yeah, so just quickly about us. Tribe consults and executes growth. I added consults because we're actually evolving to be more consulting party and Sublime.
Yeah, we have like a platform, analytics platform that measures growth, and we help like companies with the effective acquisition and retention of the clients.
Yeah, so we usually collaborate. We consult, we
Good
execute,
match.
and Sublime measures everything, so we know what we did was a flop or was a success. Yeah. Good. Okay, so today, guys, our partners are always, as always, are Enjoy Growth and founders. Enjoy Growth, it's a great newsletter that talks about different growth techniques, and Founders is an organization that unites founders, as the name says. So, what we've got today in store for you guys. So, actually, we've got, I think it's quite exciting because we're going to start with, again, a little bit of an AI infused topic. Which I think it's really timely because we can talk about AI right now, about all these generative AI tools that revolutionized the market, um, and at the same time we can talk about Meta and really the place where AI used to be for a long time. So we're going to talk about it from the perspective of ad creation and how it's really helping out or it's limiting our potential. So we're going to have
I guess like the name of this like of this session should be like where meta matters most in your funnel, but it's like I think it's the one from the previous
that's a mistake,
previous
right?
e-commerce growth meetup. Yeah.
I had this in my head for a while, and then I thought, well, it kind of makes sense, but maybe not fully.
I think they will be like talking about AI in ads, but
Anyway,
mostly like considering on meta. Yeah.
yeah, so it's going to be really focused on Meta. So that's a flop. It's going to be about Meta and ad creation and performance together. We're going to have Michał, our head of creative, and Anya Nowak, our senior performance specialist from Tribe. And then we've got Arek, your session.
Yeah, and I will be talking like about how to measure all the funny stuff and impressive stuff and AI stuff that you can do with Meta, and how to scale budgets, basically.
Yeah, so all focused about Meta with some AI in it, even though the topic here is a little bit it's a little bit wrong. And finally, we're going to finish with a panel discussion. You guys know that panels is something that I'm always looking forward to. I'm going to lead it. We're going to have some really good guests. We're going to just talk about the same stuff, same but different in this case. So it's going to be about Meta and is it really helping to grow or it's burning budget? And we're going to have 4 amazing guests. We're going to have Masha Kalagova, who used to be actually a Triber, and then she became a CMO of Pisotto, which is a company that delivers catering for dogs. And at the same time, she's a great creative specialist. She won multiple competitions when it comes to sharing different creative frameworks for mostly for actually Meta platforms. So I think she's going to be giving this creative perspective here very well. Then we've got Mateusz Godała, who is the ex-CEO of Displayed, and right now a growth consultant. Displayed, just to give you context, guys, is this company that sells some I don't know, impossible number of metal posters. So this is a very interesting product, and you could say like it's something maybe simple to create, but at the same time they reach amazing scale, and one of the huge successes coming from Central Europe, selling like across the whole world. Then we've got Piotrek Sitek, who's head of performance at Triverna, which is a traveling platform. He's gonna talk actually from this perspective of this niche that we haven't had here so many times. So traveling is, I think it's a really good field, and Meta still works there because people make spontaneous decisions when it comes to their holidays. And finally, we're gonna have Marina Zavelion, who is also an ex-Triber who left us already a few years back. She used to be the marketing director at MindGram, which is a company that delivers wellness and well-being app for corporations. And right now, she's a marketing performance director for Tuplo, which is one of the biggest online English teaching apps platforms in Poland. So I think a really good panel. Some of these people I know have spent millions of dollars and zlotys and euros on Meta. So they had successes and they had flops. So I hope they're going to share it. So guys, giving the stage to Michał and Anya, who hopefully will correct the title of their session. And thank you. Michał, Anya.
Hello, guys. At least they put our names right. So, I think this is what matters the most. Tanya is already sharing her presentation. Yes. And we're starting.
Okay. I hope you see my screen. Yeah?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Anya, and together with Michał, we're going to explore not exactly an AI topic, but another important topic where Meta matters most in your funnel. I will try to provide you with some technical knowledge, and Michał will talk more about creative aspects. Okay, so let's get started. Nowadays, we hear more and more often that the funnel is dead. Indeed, many companies admit that they manage to sell at each stage of the funnel, but it is worth remembering that these companies are often either large, well-known companies or categories of everyday cheap products. So if we are introducing our new brand to the market with a distinctive product, especially one that is more expensive than the competition, it is definitely worth starting with a standard funnel. Meta is still one of the most important platforms in digital marketing, and understanding how to use them effectively at every funnel stage can make or break your campaigns. Whether it's building awareness, driving conversions, or retaining customers, Meta has a role to play. And most people think that Meta matter most in the bottom of the funnel when it comes to direct ROI. But without a strong top of the funnel to fuel awareness, you risk running out of new potential clients to convert. Only a holistic approach ensures Meta performs effectively across all stages. And starting with the growth engine, top of funnel, whose job is to, of course, increase awareness and attract new potential clients. And what is Meta's role here? Meta has two important features: very detailed targeting options and broad reach. And combination of these two makes it the ideal platform for this stage. You can reach a huge audience of your ideal persona relatively quickly and cheaply. Then we have bottom of the funnel, which is a stage that generates measurable results like purchases. So it's, of course, a first step to do on Meta for most of the clients. Even with a small audience or both initially, focusing on converting them ensures you're monetizing your efforts. Also, these successes can fund further TOEFL expansion, allowing you to scale your funnel and, of course, to scale your business. And why do we skip the middle of the funnel and retention today? So, middle of the funnel educates prospects about your offer and brand, moving them closer to conversion. But it works only if you already have those prospects in your funnel. That's why this stage is the next best thing to do. And finally, retention focuses on keeping existing customers engaged, but you can also keep their loyalty with cheaper and more effective methods like marketing automation or loyalty program. So let's start with TOEFL, where I think Meta shines the brightest. So I think it won't be a surprise to anyone when I say that the top of the funnel is about capturing attention and creating that crucial first touch point with your audience. This stage determines how quickly and effectively your sales will develop through the whole funnel. First, you need to think about the typical Meta user, like scrolling through their feed, watching reels, looking for entertainment or inspiration. At this point, your job is simply to pick their interest and introduce your brand in the way that resonates with them. So it's important to have some hooks, which Michał will talk later. And how can you do it? If your brand is completely unknown, you should be seen by as many people as possible. It's like hanging posters on the street 20 years ago. To achieve this, you should use a brand awareness or reach campaign. However, the biggest disadvantage is that they can be the most difficult to measure in terms of effectiveness. In general, the most recommended choice will be to use a traffic or through play campaign. The reason is very, very simple. It's the easiest way to collect people for remarketing. Additionally, the traffic campaign will actually bring users to your website, which of course has many benefits, not only sales related. If your business doesn't require further consideration before buying, you can also launch a sales campaign. For example, when we are in the store and we see funny socks or cute mug that we like, we usually don't need information about their advantages, production method, or opinions. The same thing happens with some products on the internet. But don't forget that we may also come across people who are already using a similar but competitive product. Then this is when conversion at the top of the funnel most often occur, even though from our perspective, it is one of the first contact with our ad. But we recommend optimizing sales campaigns based on the add to cart event, not the purchase one. This slightly change will allow the campaign to generate enough conversion to exit the learning phase, and you can collect an audience that abandoned the cart to remark them later. In any case, remember to set realistic goals for this stage based on what you actually can achieve with campaigns here. Good goals will be number of people on the website, number of through plays, or even the number of add to carts. As I said before, it happens sometimes that even in Tofu there are sales, but treat it as a nice addition rather than an element of optimization. And here we are having some best practices to follow. I won't talk about each of them, but in my opinion, the most important of them, and unfortunately the most frequently overlooked, is excluding our current clients and people who have already interacted with our campaigns. And this is very important element because Tofu campaigns make no sense without it. Another thing is testing different creatives and messages through tests A/B. And apart from that, one of the interesting approaches that I personally recommend is also the complete exclusion of awareness activity from business calculations. And by saying this, I mean we assume that traffic, through play, or reach campaigns are not measurable in short-term perspective. So we allocate an additional budget for them, which is not included, for example, in the cost of purchase. It should also be noted here that sales from awareness activities are sometimes not visible in Meta, but they actually affect the growth of purchases coming from, for example, Google or organic traffic. Therefore, it is worth monitoring your business from this perspective as well. And continuing with the targeting theme, I'm also giving you a bonus technical tip. When using Advantage Plus audience targeting, it's worth making sure that you exclude remarketed people from such targeting because Meta will use them first in the basing setting, of course, transforming Tofu campaign into both one. So yeah, you need to check this before turn on your campaign. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Why is it so important to run multiple types of campaign optimization in the top of the funnel? We need to start with the fact that there are several types of users on the internet. Some people like to watch reels, others love to read blogs, some like to share content, and so go to social media only to reply to messages. These behaviors may overlap within one person, but they may also exclude each other. So if we have a person who likes watching reels, that same person may not necessarily want to go to the website to read your landing page. On the other hand, a person who is very keen to expand their knowledge on your blog will not react to your video at all. To put it simply, by creating more types of campaigns, you reach more potential clients. That's why it's so important to cover as many behavioral types as possible.
Okay, and let's talk about the creatives that we use at the top of the funnel. And the first one, we have through-play ads. So at the awareness stage, through-play ads are videos that provide education, entertainment, inspiration, or if possible, you can even create like everything at once. And the main goal is to invite the user into your world, into your brand, introduce interesting topics, and raise awareness around the problems the persona might find relevant for them. And you can treat this as like a good trailer after which people want to go to the cinema and watch the full movie. And that's why the most working formats here are usually clips from longer talks, podcasts or podcast-like videos, or videos with experts, something that people like to watch till the end. And where can you find throughplay ads? And it actually may shock you a bit that almost 50% of throughplay ads videos are not shown in Reels, neither Reels or the feed, but in rewarded video. So what's rewarded video? It's a placement available for gaming apps. So there players can choose to watch a video in exchange for rewards, such as virtual currency or in-app items. And of course, like you can try excluding this placement, then you need to pay attention to the budget and results as they can be affected. And of course, like these throughplay ads also are shown in Reels, feed, in-stream video, Instagram stories. So it's not like it's only in rewarded video, but majority of them go there. And then we have LP view and traffic ads. And these creatives have one goal. They offer some kind of a sneak peek of the content through clickbait headlines, controversial topics, and interesting statistics. And contrary to Throughplay, where the user gets all the education within the video, here you get the education from the landing page where that's leading to, and it's usually a content sales page. And so there, yeah, the persona is presented with the solution to the problem. And the difference between these two, landing page view and traffic, is that landing page view brings more expensive, but at the same time more quality traffic to the page. And what about placements? These ads are optimized for link clicks. So when it comes to placement, they appear mainly in feed. And here, everything gets a bit more challenging because as it's in the feed, you're competing with other social media content. So you need to make sure that your ads really stand out enough to make the user stop scrolling and click the ad. Next, we have Instant Experience, and Instant Experience was known before as Canvas. The name changed, and it's not commonly used, I would say, and it's a pity because they have quite powerful possibilities because they load quite fast, they're mobile optimized, and they're designed to capture the complete attention of your audience. So they look like a landing page inside Meta. So within Instant Experience, people can watch engaging videos, they can read copy, see photos, they can swipe through carousels, and even you have the possibility to show product catalogs and everything within single ad. And so who I would recommend this Instant Experience for, especially, for example, small brands with small budgets, where you don't have resources to create a special landing page, you can create everything in Meta. And here's the example on the right. It's from Facebook actually, but it's one of the templates that you can use, or you can even build it from scratch. So there's lots of possibilities. And then when you already warmed up your audience a bit and introduced them to your brand, you went through the awareness stage. Now it's the time to show ads that present your products. So here, there is no one-for-all strategy. You need to test a lot to find what's best for your brand. So you can use like before-after ads, live without the product, live after using the product, UGC, carousels, and more. And in this level, on this stage, we optimize these ads for add to cart because not all users are ready yet to make a purchase. We keep it for the next stages. So as well, if you have some discounts, it's better not to overuse them at this stage. And maybe they just like focus when you have big promotions like Black Friday. And that basically start with like soft selling here, not attacked with buy now that much because we can do this later in Buffer. And when it comes to ads best practices, probably like most of you already know of them, but because they are so obvious, sometimes they are very easily forgotten. That's why I'm reminding them again. And because first of all, you have very little time to get users' attention on Meta. So apply hooks everywhere, and from video to copy, and test which one works best for you, and test at least 2-3 hooks to know which one works best. Keep the videos shorter, but at the same time, you can experiment with longer ones too, because there's this trend going on that longer videos are also performing, and for some of our clients, they prove to be equally engaging. Of course, subtitles are a must, and for copy, you can upload more variation of the copy, so the system can choose who to target best. And these variations you can even prepare with AI generated tools. And yes, don't be aggressive with CTAs. So for starters, just start with CTAs like Learn More, Explore Now, Discover. Only like in this CTA on this click to add to cart optimization, you can already start with Buy Now, but let's not go too aggressive. And what's more, and focus on presenting your offer in the best possible way. So don't blind your persona with the discounts. Just make sure that the proposition is outstanding.
Okay, so as we said before, without a strong TOEFL, your funnel might dry up. And if you want to create a really big sales potential on Meta, you should first focus on the increasing reach. Then prepare interesting, eye-catching, creative materials with products USP and personas problems. You also need to plan a suitable budget. Next, don't forget to test new approaches and, of course, analyze campaign results. And last but not least, collect as many people as possible as part of your Meta audience. Now let's move forward to the bottom of the funnel where money is laying on the ground. So to understand why you can sell on Meta, you have to understand that in addition to people looking for fun, there are also people in task mode who come there to reply to messages, check in on group from the university. They are also looking for a wedding dress or new face cream. And then, boom, we appear, ready to solve all their problems at that exact moment by presenting an attractive purchasing opportunity. This stage is all about converting interests into results. And setting up a campaign at Bofu, it's of course easier because the focus is on measurable outcomes like purchases, catalog sales, or app installs. The key here is to match the right marketing message with the audience's readiness to buy. For example, sales campaigns are highly effective when paired with clear and compelling CTA like Buy Now or Shop Today. It's essential to ensure that you make it easy for the audience to take that final step. At the bottom of the funnel, it's crucial to fine-tune your approach to ensure maximum conversions. To achieve this, start with targeting effectively, as part of this, segment your audience, exclude your customer base, and tailor your communication. For example, personalize your ads for abandoned carts, which will Michał talk later. When it comes to budgeting, calculate it based on the cost per acquisition and the number of potential clients. So if your conversion costs an average of $20 and you want to have at least 200 purchases per month, you won't be able to do it with a budget lower than $4,000. It's very important, of course.
Okay, and now hear me again with my portion of ads for you. So let's start with comparison ads. And what's the best way to show that your offer is better? And of course, compare it with your competitor, indirect competitor from a similar product category, because this also happens. And you can experiment with different ways of showing your advantages. You can either list, as you can see in the examples, a few convincing benefits as opposed to not that convincing benefits of your competitor, or you just can list the most important one. And we don't recommend attacking your competitor, but we've already seen like competitors using this technique as well. But I would suggest maybe you could try going creative, and like you can play with puns, word games, humor. Not necessarily you need to be aggressive, especially that if you want to compare to someone that's that has a bigger and better offer. That's why you need to know who you're comparing yourself with. And here I can also have a nice example of an ad. Maybe it's not perfectly perfect when it comes to visuals, but this company is making comparison to itself. It's basically showing that with a long-term use of the product, you will have much more benefits than with just like single time purchase. That's why I think like it's also kind of fitting to comparison ads. It's not maybe like comparing to your competitor, but it's also a nice way, a creative way on how you can leverage this kind of ad. Okay, next one. Testimonials, a very common ad type to use, I think, across all of your funnel, because it may work in TOEFL, in TOEFL as well. But I think it's especially important to be used at the BOFU stage, and we cannot forget about this here. And you can use static banners, you can use video, you can even use carousel to multiply user reviews. And you can test shorter headlines as well as longer quotes, and to see what's more powerful, because sometimes maybe you can use like one headline and it's enough. Remember to use real opinions, don't fake testimonials. And what's also cool that you can add testimonials as an entry banner for the catalog ads, which we are going to talk right now. Yes, since I mentioned catalog ads, here we focus on sales. We have the BOFU stage, but you can also run catalog ads using app promotion, engagement, leads, and traffic objectives. So it's kind of also a powerful type of ads. They can be a bit more expensive than other ads, but generally they bring good results. And what's cool is like you have the possibility of adding another images on top of the banners, so badges, frames, and so it works like layers. And you can see this like Black Friday badge in the example you can add on top of your product listing. And generally these ads need a bit of work from our side, because as you think of the catalog ads taken from your e-commerce CRM, usually it's they come with a white or gray background. And you can manually upload the banners with different backgrounds, but if you have like hundreds of positions in your store, that probably would take you a lot of time. In such case, you have two other options. You can use Advantage Plus to do the job. Just make sure that Meta doesn't get creative with the creatives, because it can generate totally crazy backgrounds that may not fit your brand. And the last option could be to use some extra tools like Confect or cropping, which offer great design options. You can even manage them, add even more elements, work like Photoshop, but they can be a bit pricey. And the last ad, that type of ad that is also important in BOFU, it's also known to everyone, abandoned basket. And it's probably your last chance to get customers' attention when they start the purchase, but they never finish. So generally, what's been working for us, for our clients, is the idea of talking to your persona and letting them know that they have some unfinished business on your website. So ask questions, make them guilty, and then top of that, you can also add them a bit of discount, so to push this first purchase.
Okay, so to sum up the BOFU stage, first, segment your audience by intent, then create specific communication for these groups. Next, highlight the key benefits of your product and use persuasive CTAs like buy now. And finally, ensure your budget is well calculated. finally, as a bonus tip again, let's talk about retention. While retention campaigns usually focus only on existing customers, you can still use your customer base to scale your business. Here are a few extra strategies that can you include in your meta campaigns. For example, try cross-selling complementary products. You can also use assets that encourage customers who have purchased more than once to start a subscription. And you can also announce new product launches for everyone in your funnel. So it's the easiest way to like scale your business with your customer base. In summary, Meta still is a crucial tool throughout that funnel. By starting strong at Tofu and converting at Bofu, you can create a seamless journey for your audience. Remember to analyze your campaigns holistically because success in one stage of the funnel often fuels the next one. And thank you for your time and attention. And of course, we'd love to see your questions in the chat.
Thank you, guys.
Wow, thank you guys. That was really good. And I must say that whenever we are asked to check someone's meta ads advertising strategy, something that is almost always present is the lack of the segmentation of Tofu, Mofu, and Bofu campaigns. And seems like an obvious thing. We've been talking about it for years. That's something that kind of doesn't change for years. But of course, what changes is how you would approach each segment, which ads work. And I think guys did a great job of showing it. But think about your accounts and are they really segmented based on these stages? Let's have now Arek. But I want to add one thing. Guys, this is the first time when we are actually, yes, recording this session, but we will not make it available right away. So it's really for you guys who are with us live. Please, you can ask questions, you can embrace this content, but we will not release it right away tomorrow because we really want people to show up. We think it's timely, maybe in 1 month from now, the same ads are not as relevant as they are right now. And we want to encourage people to really be with us during the live session. And, I'm looking at this YouTube, and if I see some good questions from you, I'm gonna actually involve them in the panel discussion. So Arek, stage is yours, and I'm gonna guys see you in half an hour.
Okay, I think I'm all set up. So okay, so hello again. I'm Arek. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Sublime, and I'm going to talk today about how to measure all the stuff that Michał and Anna was talking about, and how to scale budgets at the end. Because if the numbers are right, we can put the more money and get better results. Okay, so in the previous presentation, we saw that Meta can be highly impactful through the entire sales funnel, but its role and strategies vary depending on the stage. And Michał and Anya was talking about Tofu, that is our growth engine of the funnel, and then Bofu that drives the most measurable business results. But regardless of the stage of the funnel, we still want to in a coherent way, we still want to measure the impact of our actions, preferably on sales. So when we work with our clients, we use some 4 main metrics to assess campaign impact on sales, regardless if it's in Tofu or if it's in Bofu. It's measuring Tofu is more difficult, but it's not impossible. And I will guys show you in a little while how we do it. So the 4 main metrics are return on ad spend, customer acquisition cost, customer lifetime value, and then the customer lifetime value to customer acquisition cost ratio. So ROAS is probably the metric that is the best well known. And with ROAS, return on ad spend, shows us the short-term effects of our ads. Because in order to calculate it, we just take all the revenue from new orders in a given time period. So, for example, in December 2024, we don't distinguish new versus returning users. So we just take all the orders, regardless of the user origin, and then we we divide that, but all the ad spent in a given time periods. So we have like a short-term effect metric. Then we can go a little bit deeper and we can have customer acquisition cost calculated. And customer acquisition cost, in order to calculate customer acquisition cost, we just take all the ad spent in a given time period. So again, it can be December. We calculate also the number of acquired new customers in the same period. And then we are dividing one by the other. And that help us to see if we're expanding our user database and what's the cost of acquiring a new user in addition to what we already had. And it's important to distinguish customer acquisition cost from return on ad spend, because we can have like higher customer acquisition cost if we are like having orders, a lot of orders, but from the users that are already our clients. And at the same time, ROAS can be good, can be nice, because like we are getting orders, but not from the users, from the new users. So two different words. The real mastery we have when we are able to calculate customer lifetime value of the users that we acquired from Meta. So customer lifetime value is the average sum of all orders made by clients acquired by Meta in a given time. So here on the slide we have the line that is showing us how the customer lifetime value was building from the time of the customer cohort acquisition. So here is the September 2023. And with every like month, every like period from cohort acquisition, the customers are making like more purchases, so their customer lifetime value is like increasing. And at the beginning it's like $80, and after like 12 months is $112. So it's increasing gradually. And this customer lifetime value is quite crucial for long-term sales effect measurement of our marketing efforts. And CLV can vary by channel and campaign. So we have to like analyze it on a really granular level. And then if we want to like not only look at the revenue side and on the cost side separately, but put it together, we should calculate CLV to CAC ratio. That is showing us the marketing profitability of our activities. And on the slide we just plot like two lines. The red one is customer acquisition cost, and the customer acquisition cost is a flat line because this is the cost. This is steady like cost that we already paid for acquiring a customer. So here on this slide it's like $50. On the other hand, we have a blue line that is customer lifetime value line, and it's the line that shows how the orders that the customer is making from the time of the acquisition are adding up, and what's his customer lifetime value. So with the first order, the customer lifetime value is 20 because somebody like made a purchase and left like $20 in our store, and at the same time we paid 50 for acquiring this customer. So CLV is lower than CAC. So we are just losing money. We are paying more than we are getting from the client. You can see on the screen that this blue line with every order is getting higher and higher. And there is a point like after second order where CLV is equal to CAC. So it means that we are covering our costs, and we just after like second order we just received enough money to cover our acquisition costs. And this point in time where this happens is also called payback period, because it gives us an information after which time from acquisition the client is paying back. And everything that will happen after this point, so with the third order, for the fourth order, you are starting like making money and making profit. And the CLV to CAC ratio is quite crucial, especially for like D2C businesses and for businesses that are like backed by venture capital, because CLV to CAC is like showing the business profitability, and the rule of the thumb is that this metric should be around 2 to 3 in businesses that are like growing healthy. Okay, so next, I will tell you a little bit about like where to find these metrics, going through all the tools that we saw our clients were using, and how to interpret metrics there. So the most important thing, or the most important analytics platform in terms of Meta is, of course, like Meta own attribution or Meta panel. And this panel is super great because it has one big advantage, because it attributes or shows attribution results based on Meta user graph. Because Meta can track the user in Instagram, on Facebook, especially like on mobile, and then connect that click or that impression with the purchase that was made then on the website, because it knows that it's the same person. And in the Meta platform, in the Meta panel, we see the amount that was spent on every campaign, and we can see also the results of the revenue that we are getting. And that allows us to calculate nice ROAS. So the first metric that I was talking about. So the metric that shows us what are the short-term effects of our advertising. But the thing that is like a big drawback is that Meta doesn't take into account other channels. And when you have like a business that is running more than one channel, and usually like people or businesses usually run like at least like Google Ads and then Meta, we have the something that is called channel overlap. So it means that people have interaction with a lot of people have interaction with more than one channels, or clicked on more than one ad in their like during their journey to conversion, let's say. And our internal data shows that the Meta overlap with Google Ads non-brand campaigns could be like from 5 to even like 40%. So there is like a lot of things that are happening in the internet that Meta panel doesn't see, because it can track only things that were done by Meta or ads that were served by Meta. And so it means that like Meta panel likes some critical informations. And on one hand, as an advantage, we have like everything from clicks to impressions that were served by Meta, and all the cost data and revenue data that allow us to calculate ROAS. But this ROAS is biased because of the overlaps. And we don't have like the conversion deduplications in Meta panels. We also like don't distinguish new versus returning clients. So we only know ROAS, but we, for example, cannot calculate customer acquisition cost or customer lifetime value to do some kind of deep dive and see what are the long-term effects of our Meta campaigns. So when like people realize that, and when our clients like realize that, they usually like, as the next step, they go to the most popular web traffic tool on the market, so GA4, and to GA4 attribution. And GA4 attribution, it's a great tool because it it solves the biggest problem of the Meta panel, channel overlaps, and it shows like performance across different channels. So we don't only like see what's happening in Meta, but we are seeing like our other channels like Google Ads. We are seeing also channels like organic. We can have like affiliates and all the channels that are redirecting the clients to our site. And in GA4, we have a couple of attribution models that are assigning like revenue by channel. But GA4, again, doesn't see the full picture of everything that we are doing, and it's impacting the way that we are assessing Meta performance. So as a plus, as I said, we have the multi-channel attribution in GA4 that allows us to do a channel deduplication. So if we see on a conversion path, if GA4 sees on the conversion path that there was a Google Ads and then Meta and then conversion, the conversion would be assigned to one of those two channels, and not like to all of them at the same time. In GA4, we have a few attribution models that are quite good. There is also a data-driven model that is quite efficient, and GA4 like has all the conversion paths, so it can assign the credits better than Meta platform. But GA4 only works on clicks, and it's an issue when we want to analyze the performance of top of the funnel Meta campaigns, especially because their aim is different than bottom of the funnel campaigns. There are some tracking issues that are impacting conventional paths, and I will be talking about them in a minute. In GA4, usually the revenue figures are quite unreliable because we see that usually around like 10 to 20% of transactions are not being recorded in GA4, so we don't have like all the revenue that you would like to analyze there. And we have no costs. So we have only like cost of Google Ads, but we don't have like cost of Meta, of affiliates. So we are not able to calculate ROAS for each of the channel and to compare it. We don't have customer lifetime value. We don't have customer acquisition cost. And so we cannot do a long-term assessment of all the marketing efforts and also Meta activities. And so all that like adds up, and it results in Meta in GA4 terribly underestimating Meta campaign performance, and it's mainly because of the tracking issues with tracking Meta in GA4. So probably a lot of you like if you are like using Meta panels in GA4, you probably realize that there's like the Meta panels are too optimistic because they don't see the whole picture. But on the other hand, the results that you are getting from GA4 are underestimated, and you feel it in your bones, but you don't know why it happened. So here is why it's so. So first of all, like GA4 meta tracking is based on cookies because GA4 is using like cross-device tracking, but it has access only to Google user graph and not to Meta user graph. And it's especially important when you are thinking about like all the ads that are served within the Meta ecosystem, to which like the GA4 has no access. So it has to like rely on cookies and not on the user graph that Meta has built around that. So Meta is good in serving and finding audiences, and based on this user graph in finding audiences and serving ads. But on the other hand, for any external tool is very difficult to do the right Meta attribution. Again, there is like an iOS and also like Firefox issue that is like shortening the cookie lifetime, and if the cookie is like more than like 7 days old at most, it's getting deleted. So even if GA4 like managed to place the cookie and the cookie is there, it's the conversion path is a little bit longer. It's really probable that if you're using iOS or Firefox, the cookie will be deleted and the conversion path is broken. There is also like a consent mode issue because like not all of the users that are landing on our website allows us to track their activities. Usually it's around like 8% of users, but there are some clients that have the consent mode being used in like 30% of the or clients like refuse to be tracked in 30% of the cases. And there is a cross-device tracking problem because when you see an ad in Instagram or on Facebook, and then you do a purchase on the website, there is no link between one and the one when you are like only using cookies and you like change the device. So to mitigate these things, to see what's the real impact of Meta, we should like turn into like some other tool or some other methodology. And this methodology that we use is like the first party attribution. And the first party attribution is, in our opinion, like next step in the cookieless era. And it's not like another black box data-driven AI-based model, because the main problem with attribution on the market, according to us, is the transparency. But what it is, it's the attribution done outside of marketing platforms in GA4 to fill in like the blanks. And it's based on raw data from e-commerce, GA4, and marketing platforms. And it aims to reconstruct like broken conversion paths, but in a fully transparent way. So we can see from which system which information comes, and why like we needed like added some extra touch points on the conversion path, for example, to have all the data. And first party attribution fixes the problem of meta tracking. And here is how. Because when we look at all the transactions that you have in GA4, you will notice that there is a big group of transactions that has been attributed to organic search, brand search, direct, or untracked. And it means that there is only one touch point on a conversion path leading to these transactions. So there is nothing before them, or at least GA4 doesn't see anything before them. And for this transaction, there is a very high probability that the GA4 only captured the last touch point before the transaction, but that there is a big chance that something happened before. And that something could be Google Ads, could be Meta, etc. But for Google Ads, there is a low probability that Google Analytics wouldn't record the click in a Google Ad, because, as I said, GA4 has access to Google user graph. So it's very good at tracking like Google Ads in GA4. It's not that good at tracking Meta clicks in GA4. And that's why our like hypothesis is that the most of the missing clicks are coming from Meta or from TikTok, but let's stick with Meta. And the hypothesis is that the conversion path was broken because click was a long time ago, like more than 7 days, and it expired. The cookie could be like deleted by a user. There could be like consent mode at play, or the transaction was a cross-device transaction. So that's why we are saying that's why we are seeing a lot of like organic, brand, direct, or untracked transactions in our GA4 reports. But what if we could like track Meta based on Meta user graph instead of cookies? And if that would be possible, it would solve our problem with the missing Meta clicks. And well, in the first party attribution, we do it. We are adding like missing clicks from Meta user graph via conversion API. And what we do, we are like sending all the transactions with, let's say, no paid source to Meta, like asking if the Meta using its Meta user graph, it saw like a click before the transaction. And the Meta is like returning the answer on a campaign level if it did or it didn't see the appropriate like click. And it allows us to put like the Meta missing clicks back on conversion paths and connect that with the raw data from Google Analytics. So fill in like the blanks, fill the things that Google Analytics just doesn't see. And it works because like adding Meta missing clicks, only clicks, not impressions, only Meta missing clicks results in like 3 times higher Meta ROAS versus ROAS that could be calculated only using only like GA4 data. And well, we did like 2 case studies with our clients to see what's the impact of this change on their perspective on Meta profitability, on Meta effectiveness. And here you have a case study with Nowak. Nowak is a D2C company that is selling like supplements online. And what we did, we analyzed like two groups of the meta ads that they were running. Retargeting meta ads and prospecting meta ads, because we also wanted to see if there is a difference in or this methodology also works for prospecting and not only retargeting, to see if it's like a universal methodology. So here on the left-hand side, you have like retargeting ads, and blue, you have like the meta results, red, GA4 results, and green is first-party attribution. And it's the same in terms of like prospecting on the right-hand side. And these are like ROAS, the ROAS that has been normalized, so not like a real ROAS, but normalized to show you the difference in terms of like using different methodologies to assess meta ads performance. So as you can see, the first party attribution, so green bar, it's much higher than the red one, so the GA4, and using like first party attribution shows that the meta results are really like undervalued, underestimated if we rely only on GA4 data. So the results in first party attribution are 2.2 to 2.3 like higher than we see them in GA4. So it means that if we are like making decision only based on GA4 data, we are really not realizing all the potential that we have and we in this channel. And more importantly, or maybe not more importantly, but interestingly, when you like analyze these bars like deeper, you will see that the prospecting campaigns are even like more effective in first party attribution perspective than they were according to meta panels. So that's an important thing, because usually like retargeting campaigns are being like more effective. But here, and even like the meta panel is showing that, but here when we take into account like conversion to duplication, we will add like missing meta clicks, prospecting is a winner. And we did like a similar like case study with another client, Coffee Desk. It's like one of the biggest e-commerce platforms in Poland. And we did the same thing. So we divided like the campaigns into two groups: retargeting campaigns and prospecting. And we wanted to see how like different attribution tools, different analytics tools see ROAS or the performance of meta ads. And again, as you can see, like the difference between GA4 and first party attribution was very high. It was even higher than in the first case study. And it again showed that the GA4 data are really flawed in terms of like tracking meta ads. And we also like took a look at the prospecting versus retargeting campaigns. And here it wasn't like the shift of the paradigm. So the retargeting campaigns according to first party attribution were better than prospecting campaigns. But what's very fascinating is that the prospecting campaigns according to meta were like really overestimated. But according to first party attribution were like working fine and not better than retargeting campaigns. So it changed the perspective again on the media mix on the meta campaigns. So first party attribution is a cool tool, because once we have like all the attribution done right, we can then move to the next step that was not available in Meta or GA4, so to calculate customer lifetime value and customer acquisition cost. And to do it, you need to like calculate customer lifetime value in a specific time period. Usually, we start with 90 days. So we just want to know how many orders and how much money the customer will live in our business like during like 90 days. And we calculate that for every month of the customer acquisition. So we have like the cohort approach here. And you can see that it varies over time, and it depends on the month. On the other hand, we want to put here the customer acquisition cost to see how much money we spent in a given month to acquire those customers. So we want to have like a revenue side and a cost side, and then we want to calculate the ratio. So we want to know if we are covering our costs and if not. And the goal here is not to have like the same result every month, but to be able, after a couple of months, using attribution to pick like the campaigns that are most effective and move the budget there. And that allows us to have like the CAC being lower and lower, and the customer LTV having at the same level or a little bit higher, and that improves the CLV to CAC ratio, and that improves the economy of our whole business, and that's the growth engine that we can use for marketing efforts that we are having. If you want to like analyze like the effects of marketing in the long term. So 90 days customer lifetime value tracks long-term meta acquisition effects, and the ratio, if it's above 1, shows that we are profitable after 90 days, and it's a great information. And if we are not profitable after like 90 days, we should like take a look at our marketing mix and see if we are like have all the exclusions of, for example, like current customers that we don't want to target, like for example in prospecting campaigns. So without like first party attribution, it's not very easy. We can't assess like the short term in terms of ROAS or the long term in terms of CLV and CAC meta profitability. And so as a summary, like in our opinion, at least from what we have seen, Meta platform overestimates meta results in many cases, especially when we are running like more than one channel, because when we have only meta platform is fine. If you have like big Google ads and then big Meta, for sure there will be like some overestimation there. On the other hand, like GA4 usually underestimates Meta terribly because of the tracking issues mainly, and neither Meta or GA4 give us true ROAS because of that, not mentioning like about customer lifetime value and customer acquisition cost. First party attribution at missing clicks from Meta user graph. You know the methodology already. If you have like your own attribution in your data warehouse, you can like add the part that I was talking about with conversion API and have the first party attribution. And our like case studies shows that this approach like increases the ROAS like up to 3 times. So done in GA4. So it shows that there is a big potential in this channel when we are like measuring it properly and transparently. And the last thing is like first party attribution is crucial for short and long-term meta sales performance, because then when we have attribution done right, we can have customer lifetime value and customer acquisition costs also calculated in a good way. Yeah, I think I'm on time. So if you guys have any questions, just ping me in LinkedIn.
Right, we have such a great timing, Alex. So good. Okay, so we're gonna get started with our panel. Okay, I see my guests. Great. Welcome. Okay, so give me a second. Let me just check if we've got everyone. Okay, we've got Piotr, we've got Marina, we've got Mateusz, and we've got Masha. Okay, so let's get started. Welcome, guys. So welcome to the panel where we're gonna be discussing some people's favorite channel, some people's not favorite channel, Meta. So let me start by introducing our amazing panelists. So we're going to start with the ladies, and I'm very happy because both of the ladies are the ex-tribers. So I see Masha first in a row, so let's start with Masha Kalagova. Maria Kalagova, actually, is she's ex-Triber too. She used to be with us for many years. She's also a partner at Tribe. She was responsible for many strategies and executions of really cool projects. For example, for many years, she led a growth of Be Active TV and Be Bio businesses of Ewa Chodakowska, who's like one of the leading fitness trainers in Poland. And after she left Tribe, she actually became an amazingly well-known speaker in Poland, and she was winning multiple prizes at this conference called I Love Marketing, where she was actually talking a lot about creative frameworks that are mostly used actually on the paid social media channels. So I think this is very relevant for today's conversation. And I think showing one of these frameworks helped her to win, if not both, Masha, but at least one of these speaker competitions. And she also worked in some other cool companies after Tribe, like Rosetka, did I say it right? And later Piesotto, which is food catering for pets, also a very cool niche. And then we've got Marina Zevelion, also served Tribe for many years as head of our performance team, worked on some fantastic projects. Like, I think one of the outstanding for me is Volt, where she actually led the expansion of Volt in Poland, and then also trained their in-house team on how to do it to keep growing. But she worked on many projects at Tribe. I don't want to mention all of them, but she was also very successful after she left Tribe. She led performance team at MindGram, which is, I think, the leading wellness app for corporates and companies, originally from Poland, but now expanding into the world markets. And now she's the head of performance at Tutlo, which is the leading English teaching platform, I could say, because it's not just apps, they have multiple different teaching products. And that's where she's right now. Okay, that's it about the ex-Tribers, but we also have other guests, which I don't know so well, but I hope that today's discussion, we're going to be able to get to know each other a bit better. So we've got Piotr Sitek, who's performance director at Triverna, which is this exclusive hotel club where you can get really good deals on different hotels and stays. Really amazing deals. Like when I was trying to read about it, it looks really strong, so great. And of course, Piotr is responsible for scaling performance of this company right now. But before, he was really involved with many different e-commerce businesses and also with some of the big brands like Porsche or Gillette. So amazing experience of many years in performance marketing of big brands, startups, and recently travel industry, which I think is an amazing representation here. And last but not least, we've got Mateusz Godała, who's an ex-CEO of Displayed. And Displayed is a great example of this Polish company that I think is like one of the most valuable e-commerce businesses originally from Poland. And what I read about Mateusz was that he was actually one of the people who led the company through the growth phase, and he was really managing huge performance budgets. I'm very curious today to find out if Meta was one of his favorite channels or maybe not. He was building partnerships with many brands, and I'm very excited to actually get to know his opinion today. My name is Ewa Wysocka. I'm CEO of Tribe47. And that's it when it comes to the introductions. And we're going to jump right into the questions. And I'm going to start with a short warm-up. So simple question to you guys. Right now, when you think about Meta channel, as a source of growth for e-commerce businesses, your moods are more like this or like this, or something that a son of my husband shows very often is like this. So 3 options. Let's start with Masha. Okay, that's an easy answer, you know. Okay. Marina.
I think it is going to be everyone's
I need
answer.
some black and whites here. Mateusz.
I don't like a middle kind of answer, so I would say this, but it's going this way.
Okay, so still in the middle. And last but not least, Piotr.
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. I like that. A positive voice, positive voice. Good. Okay, so that was a short warm-up. So I can see like not everyone's favorite channel, but we're gonna start the next question with Piotr because you're the most positive about Meta. So I would love to hear from you guys, like in your experience, really, how has Meta evolved? You know, digital marketing is about a constant evolution, everything is changing. So how you see, like you guys all have been in the business for years, right? 10 years plus. So how has this channel evolved as a performance marketing platform, especially when we focus on the e-commerce businesses? Like what evolution have you seen? And let's start with Piotr, who obviously loves Meta because showed me the thumb up. So let's see, what do you think about it? Oh, no, we can't hear you. Okay.
Can you hear me right now?
Yes, cool. I
Right.
can hear you.
Well, I have to say this is not the case that I love Meta. So sorry. But yeah, I have some experience with Meta, of course, and I can tell a little bit about how this is changing in like 10 years. So I would say like this to be quite clear and short, like 10 years ago, I would say maybe even more than that. Facebook, it was quite easy. It was like set and forget, right? So you could just the reach wasn't really there, but the CPMs were very low. It was quite easy to just start and then get just good results at maybe not the highest scale, but still, right? Then it started to become like quite more sophisticated. It was like, let's say it was maybe 5 to 7 years ago. It was, from my perspective, like more like you need to know, you need to be an expert in Facebook ads, not particularly in marketing, in creatives, in copy and stuff to get results. So you just needed to be like a growth hacker, Meta. Then it was a Facebook growth hacker. Just push the specific button. You need to know that the specific rules how to operate on Facebook ads, I would say. And then after some, like in 3 years from now I would say probably from the iOS 14, it changed to the platform that, from my perspective, is more about creatives, is how you are able to prepare the best proposition, but the best offer, also the best product, probably for your consumer. You need to understand your consumer first. You need to create the great copy, the great creatives also. UGC is on the rise, and from Meta perspective, I believe it's like this. They want you to have a platform that you just enter. Also, when you're a small e-commerce, you just enter. You create a creative. Maybe you have one, or you create with their AI tools and stuff, and then you push a button, give me sales, right? So they are like trying to change to be that kind of platform, I'd say. Also, of course, there is yeah.
I love actually that. I love that summary. Easy, complex, creative, right? So that's a really cool summary. But I want to hear the opinions of the others. So maybe Marina, like, what's your opinion? I'm very curious. You're always very You have interesting insights on these matters. And I think you love Meta. I mean, you said like, but you like it.
I mean, I do agree with Piotr. However, I mean, I have like mixed feeling after, let's say, last 3 months, because from one side, I was like managing very complex Meta account, not by my hands, but by hands of many specialists of the performance team, with like an extremely high spend. And from one side, I was feeling like it's all about creative. And then I was feeling like this is all about these weird growth hacking techniques of scaling your account, because at some point you are like reaching the ceiling because you cannot anymore reach the persona. You have too much, like you're during one day you can like reach 100,000 people, and if you are limited by a market, you have problems with like by one market, you have problems with like, you know, scaling, showing to more people your ads. So I was like, what are these tactics and techniques of, you know, of scaling? I mean, we were discussing it 2-3 years ago, but I feel like nothing has changed. And I was looking like for like this, you know, really deep like insights. How do we multiply accounts, like Facebook accounts, to scale, to reach more people? Like, how do we not cannibalize ourselves with different campaigns? So these technical skills, they were quite important. This is one insight. Another insight is that Advantage Plus campaign was really performing amazingly in my case. But again, it was not enough. So it was giving amazing results in terms of sales, revenue, everything, because we are tracking our final results through first source data, as Arek was mentioning. However, again, it wasn't possible to scale with Advantage Plus because it was reaching the ceiling. So my summary is that at this moment, for big accounts, you still need these technical tactics of scaling, how not cannibalize, how to reach persona, how to reach a bigger amount of people without, you know, scaling the costs, because when you scale, you have this CPC going crazy. At the same time, of course, everything is about creative UGC and stuff, but also this AI stuff of Meta. I was really very happy compared, for example, with Performance Max. I'm sorry for all the Googlers watching this, but Advantage Plus for me was like much better. And that's my opinion for now about Meta.
So I think, Marina, you're adding this perspective of AI and the fact that the technical skills are not obsolete anymore. Mateusz, what do you think about that? Like, how have you seen Meta evolving over the years?
I like Meta because it's so easy to test a hypothesis, whether it's new market, new feed, creative, headline, USP, whatever I want. It's super easy to launch the test. And in the last few years, what I did not like was actually the removal of few advanced functions and access to data, which really limit kind of the options for optimization, like hacks I could have used then, and just a little bit less than that it was to use. I'm not a big fan of AI revolution because I think in the end, like it will make everyone average, meaning it's beneficial for marketers or accounts of companies that are weak. They don't have skills and capacity to do it properly. But once again, this will remove options for marketers who are really advanced to optimize, and it will make everyone flat. So it will the intellectual advantage, like most advanced people have, it will be slowly going down. It will be harder to use it.
Unless we keep growing ourselves.
Yeah, I think actually the best thing that happened to Facebook is TikTok competition, because it will force them to develop better product for us marketers. So still, I'm positive. I like it. Just think we have a little bit less control. This is not great.
Well, life is like that. Always less control with growth. Okay, Masha, so what's your opinion? Like, would you like to throw some extra 2 cents about how Meta changed over the years from your perspective?
Yeah, so for me, the thing that changed the most, I think, is the targeting. So, before we could really target very narrow persona, like really that person that we need. And right now we have to go really, really wide. So, you're targeting women in Poland, 25, 55, and that's it. And then the creative is basically the only way to actually get to that persona, right? So for me, this is the biggest change, that before we use targeting, now we use creative as targeting, right? So creative is basically the new targeting. And you have to make sure that the creative will differentiate for you the exact person that you actually want to catch. I like Meta, and for me, actually, Marina Performance Max worked in the last year much better than Vantage Plus. So I'm a big fan of Performance Max on Google. But yeah, I think it depends on every account is different, every business is different, every budget is different. So yeah. So of course, the biggest answer is it depends. But the changes in targeting, yeah, I think they affected marketing the most in the last years.
So when you look at Meta channel as a perspective of your entire performance budgets for the brands that you have been managing or you are managing right now, like what part of the budget should be actually dedicated to this channel? Like, I know there are many cases, but you guys can use some particular case and scenario where you could give some example of how you would actually distribute it. So what percentage of the budget should be dedicated to Meta? Bigger, smaller, like what's your take on it, Marina? How do you actually do that? I know that you love to do the budget allocation, so.
Okay, as you say, of course. I mean, in my case, if I would speak about, let's say, this year, my budget allocation was based on the revenue which we were able to acquire from Meta. So I had some, let's say, formula based on which I knew how to allocate, let's say, 20% of revenue generated by Meta could be allocated as a budget, right? Mm-hmm. So this was like again, in my case, we were attributing directly revenue and sales to Meta from first source data. So it was very high level of analytics and data. We were not looking like, of course, in terms of optimization of campaigns and creative, we were looking at CPM or CPC, especially when scaling, because it was making our costs bigger. But if we speak about budget, we were like allocating 20 to 25% of the revenue generated by Meta to costs which it generates. So if it answers your question.
Yeah, maybe I'm also curious, like, how does it compare to other channels? Like, what proportion of Meta in the whole kind of advertising budget spend? If you can share, it doesn't have to be in terms of this project that you're working on right now, but what's usually this portion? Like, I know it varies across different businesses, right? But
yeah, so for example, if we compare it to Google, like, again, it's so different for different businesses, right? Exactly. So let's say for some of them, Google won't be this impactful because the product, you need to educate you need to educate your persona about the product, right? So it's not like someone is looking in Google and this is not high intent product. Yeah. So if we speak about products where this intent is created, and it's usually created through paid social or organic or influencers, so of course this budget allocation would be much bigger than to Google. In my case, again, it was all based on revenue, so Google was like around 3 times bigger than Meta. But again, if I think about, I don't know, I work currently on strategy for some new product, which is like, creating some kind of new category in e-commerce, right? And I think that social media budget for paid ads would be much bigger, 3 times again bigger than budget for Google, because we yet didn't create this category, so people don't know yet what to look for.
Especially for the new brands, right? You're gonna allocate more to Meta. Any other thoughts about it? Anyone else who would like to throw some ideas towards that?
Yeah, I think I can share something, share my thoughts on that. So we strictly allocate budgets based on ROAS. Of course, the ROAS is not the simple thing to measure. We have all these attributions, as Alex said. But yeah, still. So yeah, based on ROAS, also other channels also based on ROAS. So I can say that at this point on Triverna, the social media paid budgets is between 10 and 20%. It changed. We made some market attribution optimization changes this year, but let's say then we had higher budgets. Let's say it's between 10 to 20%, but for small, I would say starting e-commerce businesses, it could be like total social media for now with TikTok ads also. It could be like 18, 90%, and then some Google ads mostly for the brand queries. So depends on the product.
Yeah, there's no really golden rule here. It's like there are companies who have like a few hundred millions in revenue and they're almost purely Facebook. And there are others who like might be a good business and fail every time they try to scale or like just launch social media, paid social media.
Yeah.
Really depends on the
Yeah, like earlier, right? They do only like they say only do Google Shopping ads and that's it. And they're like a billion revenues or something.
So very much dependent on the product and category, right? Like that's so interesting. I think when we talk about channels, we always have to remember that the channel specific knowledge comes second, right? But this business acumen, like where you actually understand the business and how you should actually leverage the channels, this know-how is like really super valuable right now. Like digging a little bit deeper into that, like how would you say, like what role in the growth strategy of the brands should Meta play? Like how do you see? I mean, let's try to give a short answer to this quite, I think, general question. But for you, Masha, for example, like when you think about Meta advertising, like how do you see its role in the growth of the brands?
I think Meta, like with TikTok, is super important for building awareness, right? Because with Google, it's really hard to actually build awareness. So I think top of the funnel, if the product, if it's possible for this product, top of the funnel, for sure should involve Meta. If it's especially if it's a new product. Or something in an active scale of growth. We're talking about B2C, of course, because with B2B it's different. So yeah, building awareness, I think it's the best place to do it. Also, what I've noticed is that Meta is really great with triggering emotional purchases. So all the niches where you can buy something because you see great ads on Instagram, they're like, oh, I want it. So it's really good for triggering this emotions, triggering this intent. So it works really well with anything that you can buy emotional, right? So this is like clothes or cosmetics or cool things, basically. So yeah, so I would say my answer would be first building awareness and second triggering emotional purchases. This is the Meta role for me recently.
Mateusz, would you add anything to that?
No, I agree. There's no really golden rule like earlier. I would be really opportunistic and to check like which channel is really working for someone. I think the only golden rule is like simplicity. Don't overcomplicate it and use 15 different channels if you could use 2 or 3. Like Piotr said, you could build $1 billion business if you master one channel sometimes. So just simplicity is the key. And I wouldn't overestimate advertising effect on branding, like brand building on top of the funnel could be easily done with other channels. And like paid Google paid social are very easy to use in order to bring orders middle down of the funnel, and sometimes it's top of the funnel might be complicated and it's very hard to measure. It's very hard to measure.
Is there alternative when you think about it? Like, how else would you build this awareness if not through paid social, right? Because sometimes we think, okay, it's so obvious. If we want to build an awareness of a new brand, paid social is like this obvious choice, right? So what are the alternatives? What is really Meta kind of competing against? Like, what are the other options of marketers to build the awareness of a new product?
Very classic channels that people were using before even performance was here. So PR, influencer marketing, content, all these more organic, natural, native formats. It's just easier to. You don't need to pay sometimes even. Cooperation with other brands. So it's something like very often something that you need to pay like on CPM, CPC basis.
Affiliate marketing, right? For example, or
For example.
all these things. And so how in your opinion, guys, like Meta, because some of you guys already throw this in, but how do you think it compares to other paid channels? You guys were already saying that some of you like Google, some of you don't, but Google is trying to catch up, right? Like they are actually creating new formats that will resemble somehow the the video formats that Meta was exploring for a while. There is TikTok, obviously, which is another channel, maybe a little bit more sales driven in the United States and Europe. Still, this sales process is maybe not that easy to achieve on TikTok, but still, there are many other platforms. So do you still think Meta is better because there's more people there, or you think there can be somehow challenged by Google or other new challengers? Marina, what do you think?
I mean, I think it depends from your persona, because I do agree a lot about emotional purchases. However, on TikTok, you also do have a lot of possibility to have emotional purchases. However, they're usually cheaper. So it really depends on your persona and product for me. And I actually, in my latest, latest experience, people under 25 were really not converting through Meta. But also they were not converting on high price products through TikTok, right? So I was like actually having this problem that I don't know where do I reach these rich kids, if we call them so, because they're not like interested already in Meta. And I'm also speaking about Instagram, right? So I have witnessed this like in some latest campaign that on Instagram, Gen Z is not converting that well. And also, again, on TikTok, it was harder to sell more expensive products. So I haven't found an alternative for this audience yet. However, for me, there is no alternative for, again, emotional and lifestyle purchases and products to Meta, meaning Facebook and Instagram, depending on the product. So I don't see an alternative. Of course, yes, we generate a bit from Pinterest, a bit from TikTok, and they're growing, but it's not like we can replace Meta even by mix of Pinterest, TikTok, and something else.
It's mostly about scale, probably, right?
Exactly.
And Piotr, anything to add? Like, do you see a challenger that could?
Yeah, well, I have to agree, I think, with Marina, but disagree with you, Eva. I wouldn't say that we have many options on the market. So what do we have? We have Meta, we have TikTok, obviously, then Google. And after this, of course, we have the smaller ones like Pinterest, the TikTok, LinkedIn maybe. And then what? Also retargeting maybe like RTB House and Criteo and stuff, and then we have all these like portals, let's say, and mailing and stuff. And well, when it comes to performance, not only on the sales, like the immediate sales but also on the brand equity. I can say because I did that kind of a research like 3 years ago, I believe, maybe 4, how the specific channels contribute to the changes in the brand equity for the people. And then after this, the results were obvious. It's like Google works, Meta works, and everything else is like not working. Let's say, okay, the portals, mailings, all this stuff, it just doesn't work. The display marketing, besides retargeting, doesn't really work. So this is it. So I don't think we have many opportunities. Maybe if you.
I love when people disagree with me, so that's okay. My job here is to actually make you guys share some more straightforward views. And I like what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I think Mateusz here is offering a little bit more approach that, hey, maybe there's other things. And I believe it depends probably on the brand, but let's jump into other question, which is about measuring the success. I think it's a very complex subject, but I would love to hear your opinion about it. We just had a presentation by Arek. He was sharing all the challenges with attribution that we're facing and how you can really make very bad decisions if you, for example, stick to one way of measuring success, for example, GA4 driven only, and you don't really understand how these channels are behaving with each other. But I want to hear, like, what's your metrics? Like, how do you evaluate success of Meta paid campaigns? Like, what do you recommend as well for others to do? So maybe this time let's start with Mateusz, like how to measure.
Oh, this is a hard question.
I
It's
know.
real pain in
Only
the
questions here.
right now. I would say that they very differ from like company maturity and probably in the early days, like internal meta tools and Google. Just maybe like a tool like Sublime is enough, and then with time there are different stages like market tests or like econometrics model, like a lot of different tools. And this is really a road like that could take 2 or 3 years to hone the proper measurement strategy in a company. And it's always changing. So it's damn, it's hard. I would start like I would keep it simple, but if someone has some resources like hiring an internal analyst that really thinks about it and tests different tools and could build like some internal models, it's the best.
Masha, how you were working recently with some startups, right? Like Piesotto.
Yes.
So sometimes they have some limitations, right? Like still a cool subject, they can grow fast, but now like how to measure, especially for the brand that maybe can't invest in like some huge analytics system and like what would you look at?
So it was a challenge a lot for us, not even measuring the results because I knew the results, but mostly attribution, right? I think we talked about it a lot because I know the results, but I don't exactly understand where they come from. So saying truth, and now I will be honest with everyone. I do with a lot of the businesses I work on, I do the blended acquisition cost, and that's my method because sometimes it just doesn't make sense to overcomplicate things, right? So I take the marketing cost and divide it by amount of purchases, and I go to my CEO and we discuss, because in the end, I don't care if it was from Meta, from Google, or for organic. I just need to understand overall is the business growing or not? Is the customer acquisition cost good? Is it okay with my lifetime value? And so on. So saying truth, I will confess to everyone who's watching this that this is what I do.
Which is really the only thing that you can sometimes do for the brands at the early stage, where they can't really spend either waste time or spend money on building a more sophisticated analytics system, right? But how it is, Marina, for the bigger brands? Because of course, when you're spending like $1 million on advertising a month, then probably just going to your CEO and saying like, I spend this million, like here's the results. You know, if you can save 100K, it's probably something you should be doing, right? So how do you approach that?
I mean, from my experience, because I was also working with smaller brands, doing some strategy for some I don't know, apps or technology businesses, and like what I see, maybe it will be absolutely obvious for everyone, but own your data. I mean that every company can start owning their data, collecting this data, and doing two things. So first of all, if you have emails and you have a good CRM where you can attribute purchases to your emails, then you have a lot of data which you own, and you don't need, like, of course you need some attribution because some purchases will be coming through additional, I don't know, paid social channels or whatever, but you have much more opportunities. This is one thing. And then doing, like, owning your data and attributing it through mix of different channels through SQL, for example, or BigQuery, you know, doing it by yourself, not by Google Analytics or Meta Analytics or whatever. What worked. I mean, again, it's a dedication, and it's something like you need to keep this hygiene, you need to have strategy, you need to have a specialist who will do it. So it's, of course, it's not for everyone, but I saw a big difference in like ability to make decisions even on early stage in companies who were owning this data and doing by themselves. Even, you know, I'm not speaking about fancy built own analytics system. I'm speaking about Excel, where you have like 50 sheets where you're pulling some data through different sources, and your poor analytics specialist is doing it, half of it by hand, right? So it was making a big difference in understanding what we should do next. But of course, I know this commitment is not for everyone, but I highly encourage to own your data and collect everything you can and own this place where this data is shown.
And I must say that we did use Excel sheets at Tribe, and Marina actually introduced it for all our projects. And in some cases, they're still present. In some cases, they were replaced by dashboards, obviously. So that's a good thing. But Marina brought to Tribe this really big consistency about collecting all the data for our clients, and that was helping us to make decisions many times. So I'm all for that. And I agree, if you're a small brand, just learn to use Excel sheets better, right? There's many tutorials on how you can use Excel. Not that hard. And Piotr, any opinions from you? Like, I'm not sure on what budgets Triverna operates right now, but I would understand that you guys are also spending a substantial amount. So how do you measure? You already mentioned ROAS as your main thing, but what else?
Yeah, we just trying to achieve the highest GMV with the ROAS that is on the spot for the total media spend. But I have to say our attribution is our attribution modeling system and that we operate is quite complex. So kudos to Krzysztof, the CMO of Triverna, that created it really. And I think this is crucial for growing this company. So, but this is only the one part of it. And we are, for the Facebook, we measure GMV and CRs and ROAS in 5 attributions, right? So the first one is the first click.
Yeah.
The second one is the last click. The third one is just GA4. The fourth one is this is the Markov attribution, and the fifth one is obviously the Facebook Ads Manager attribution. There also we have some kind of like the first day, one day click and stuff. So so there is no one simple question for answer for the quite like a complex system. So there is no formula for like first click is 20% and the last click is 15% of attribution. But for all the channels, we can see how we can just generate insights, how and like get to know how they contribute to your sales, right? So when we see that for example for the Facebook, that the Markov modeling shows us the 4 to 5 times higher ROAS than for the G4. Now we know that somehow the people from Facebook come in, visit our websites, and then after one visit or 5, that doesn't matter. Then they just purchase a product, right? So yeah, so this is it. This is how we approach. Those are our KPI, GMV and ROAS, and let's say 5 attribution models.
Great. So you guys should remember that there's different stages of a business, and we should all strive to have all these attribution models in place. But
Yeah, and it's all real time.
Yeah. Not easy, obviously. Because our time is running, I want to actually ask you 2 more questions before we go into final conclusions. And one will be about creatives, because a lot of you guys actually mentioned that creatives are becoming more and more important when it comes to success on Meta. My second question is related to A/B testing, something that on many brands that we work on, it's always a very challenging subject, how you should approach it. Maybe you guys can blend these 2 questions in one answer. So how do you guys think brands should approach, first of all, creatives, so creative strategy for Meta ads, and second, how should they blend in the testing and the effective testing of these creatives? So what's your take on it? Maybe Masha, because I know you have been speaking about it on some conferences. So try to blend this creative approach with also how this should be tested, because
actually, if you want to dive into this topic, I have this amazing workshop next week in Warsaw on 11th of December. So feel free to join. I think there is like 1 or 2 spots left. But answering your question, Emma. So I think what is important is to put it into some framework, right? So I have my own framework for doing creatives and testing, where you start testing with different hooks, then you test different approaches, you test different angles. So this is how I approach it, but it doesn't have to be this way. But you have to have some kind of logic put into it, right? So you have to do some order. And most important thing, I think a lot of brands don't do. I don't know why. Is to have your backlog, right? So to not only test things, but then write the results of this test. Because I've seen a lot of brands doing a lot of testing, and then these things just vanish. No one writes results of this test. These creatives are gone. They are somewhere on Google Drive, and you're like, but I don't even know what happened then, right? So I would have to pull out the business manager data. It's super hard. So I would say test put some logic into your testing, know the things that you're going to be testing. It can be angles, it can be hooks, it can be different things, it can be copies. I don't think there is one proper way, but there has to be some order into it, and then note all the changes, because I've seen literally very big brands not writing down the results of tests, and this is I think one of the biggest issues.
Since Masha introduced her framework at Tribe, all the projects have this massive backlog on Miro, where we see the history sometimes from even 3 years back of their ads.
But it's great that you can find super helpful. Yeah.
Super helpful also when you want to onboard a new creative specialists, so they can really see what was happening in the ads. Okay, and maybe Piotr, like what you guys do? How do you approach creatives? You mentioned yourself that you think Meta is really about creatives recently, and how do you test it?
Well, yeah. On one hand, yes, but on the other hand, I have to say, I have to admit the DPAs with the simple, strict offer of the hotel works best for us. So yeah, but of course, well, we operate on two categories of creatives. The first one is the DPAs, mostly for the retargeting, also for the Advantage Plus campaigns. And the second ones are the promotional offers. So we have a kind of promotions all the time, almost on the website. They are quite short there. Our creatives are still quite simple, I'd say, but still they are quite well optimized at this point. And what can I say? I wouldn't go into the creative tests like a frameworks or stuff, but I have to say it's quite easy, especially now with AI, to generate insights based on the data that you have in the Ads Manager. So this is not about creating the specific A/B tests, I would say, for now. Like when you have all the data that you can report out of the Ads Manager, you can create just quite a big data set of what was the creative, what was the copy, like text, headlines, description, CTAs, and stuff. Obviously, the placements and so on. And then the results, just media results. The CTRs are quite important. I have to say that the CTR is very important when you measure how like people just well, let's say like how the creative work, but the magic there is here is that you just can use Claude. Let's say I personally use Claude AI, ChatGPT, and then based on this, just ask the good questions to the AI, and you will get good insights about what should you communicate to what
Audience.
of the audiences.
Cool. And Mateusz, and your approach to creative testing?
I think when the performance marketing started, actually, it was best to be technically sophisticated. And when the Facebook, Google move it now, like the creative process is actually the most important. How to be like really sophisticated with this process and how to do it. But I think Masha, Piotr, like Marina, they told a really good thing about it. Nothing to add here, but I think the future, like about this testing process, the future will be this advantage will be easier to gain in terms of like product development, like real product, whether it's physical or digital, and which companies will be able to really connect product people with marketing people. And to give you an example, when in this page we wanted to drive loyalty, we did not invest it in CRM. Of course, it was part of it. Like, okay, we need CRM, but email automation specialist, But what we've done really was we redeveloped the whole product with branding, positioning, with packaging. We implemented new product line that was limited edition, etc., etc. And in the end, like our loyalty was not 20%, but 2 or 3 times higher than the market average in this industry. And the whole community started around this, people who were following this and just, changing like ideas, like working with us. So I think then like the next big thing will be how to set up this like testing process and creative process with product people, and how marketers could work with them, developing like a new product, which is more differentiated and easier to market.
like that perspective, because it's like not just about a creative inside the ad, but also about how you can actually infuse it with the product differentiation, right? And sometimes you can show the product that doesn't exist yet, right? Especially in a company like this, like probably producing something is just so easy. And it's starting to become easy for many brands. You don't have to have it yet, and you can still test it, and it's like a next level. Marina, anything to add on the creatives and testing?
I mean, maybe a bit different perspective. I hope, Eva, you will be okay with that. But I think what made a big difference in terms of A/B testing on Meta was about, like in my case, during, let's say, last half of the year was A/B testing on landing pages. Which we used on Meta. And with bigger budget, with bigger amount of traffic coming to a landing page, you can really tweak it like daily. And it was like possible to start the campaign, let's say seasonal campaign, which is like, let's say 1 month or 3 weeks with, I don't know, 5% conversion on landing page and reach 17 by the last 3 days of campaign by, you know, optimizing and testing some hypotheses about headlines on landing page. And it works specifically on Meta, so Facebook and Instagram. It didn't work like that on TikTok or Google for me. So just giving you this insight about that A/B testing is not only about creatives on Meta.
Love this full funnel approach, right? Sometimes we think about testing in such a narrow way. It has to be on the ad, but you know, here you guys are bringing up the idea of having it on a landing page or even having it inside of the product, right? So that's really amazing. Okay, so guys, just some closing question. I would love you guys to actually answer. If you could give just one advice to the brands that are right now hoping to expand their activities on Meta, or maybe they're struggling, I mean, and they can't really reach results on this channel and thinking like we should stop Meta ads. You know, I very often hear it like, what if I actually stop spending on Meta? What will happen? So is it a good idea? I always say, well, everything can be a good idea, right? It just you have to face consequences. So depends on them. What would be your advice to people who don't want to give up on this channel and they actually want to make it more successful? What would you tell them? Maybe Masha, this time you start.
Okay, so what I would tell them, look what others are doing. I think people ignore this a lot, and this is one of the most important things that you almost never have to reinvent the wheel. So I would say, open the libraries, type in your words, and watch a lot of competitors' ads. Gather the insights, see how they work, because you can even see, how much money they're spending almost, and all these things, how many views this ad have had. So I would say observing others, seeing what they're doing, looking into trends is very helpful, because if someone's doing something, look into people who know, who already nailed it, and it might help a lot. And I think people very often started thinking like, okay, I will just do my own thing, and it's not about copying. It's about actually learning from others, and I think it's a very important part of creative work.
Cool. And Piotr, what do you think?
Well, I agree with Masha, but I have to say, if you want to stop advertising, just do it. If you're curious enough, just do it, and you will see what will happen then. So yeah, yeah, just
Good advice.
yeah. Many people are killing with Facebook ads, and it's like just you need to just, of course, obviously, when you have a great product, great offer, it's just about to reach the specific audiences, people with the proper copy, and that's it. It should work. And if it's not working, you just cannot rely only on advertising, because it's not going to work. Without a great product and an offer today, it's like just Meta will not do. So you need to have a great product.
Mateusz, anything to add?
I think first, keep it simple. The complexity slows down every business and just generates more errors. So simplicity is the key always. Have a process in place, like whether it's creative or whatever is important for you. Like note your results, have a process, test regularly, just have a process for it. Test relentlessly everything like you want to check always. And remember that in the end, what you advertise, it's just the end of the road, and it starts with the product. And if your product don't differentiate, like if you have the same product, like with the same USP, the only thing that's different is like promo price and your marketing budget, and then the margin can get really thin. So it really starts with the product, and then it's all. And
Marina? I can't hear you.
I do agree with everyone. I think simplicity, process, learning from others. What could I add on top of it? Just grateful to be there today with smart people. So I just can summarize what they said.
Thank you, guys. So let me just do a very quick summary of what we have discussed, because it was quite a long and I think a meaty discussion. So you guys started by actually sharing your opinion about how has Meta changed, and you spoke about early days. I think Piotr mentioned was simple system, then it became more complex. Finally, creatives matter a lot, but Marina threw in her 3 cents that actually growth hacking is still important, because this channel becomes even more challenging when you need to constantly scale, and when you're working on bigger budgets, that will actually matter a lot. You guys also spoke about like what percentage of budget should be dedicated to Meta platform, and what's the role of this platform in the growth strategy of e-commerce brands. And it really depends on the business, but if you're in a category of some spontaneous shopping, then definitely Meta will become one of your most important platforms. If you're new in the market, it's also going to become one of your most important platforms. And you guys all agree that really there's not one such good alternative. Maybe Mateusz was mentioning that very often brands actually ignore the chance to build up a different channels, like partnerships, like influencers. So, I mean, you should do everything, but the quick channel that helps you to scale awareness is still Meta. And of course, there are challengers, but they're still not that scalable at this one. So I think that only builds on this kind of thing where you actually should be trying to master this channel. We spoke about KPIs and data, and such a complex subject. I think here the most important piece of advice is to own the data, and that's something that came from Marina. I think it's important, however you want to approach this data. Do you want to calculate the blended cost per acquisition, or you want to go deeper into different attribution models? Just important thing is to own the data. It's same important as actually owning your creative experiments and keeping track of it. So you should know what works in your business and maybe keep track of it. Experiment, use creatives, because they're going to actually help you to leverage what's best in this channel. And of course, the piece of advice is to remember about the product, right? In the end, you guys all said it. You also spoke a bit about testing, where you can test the product and you can test the landing pages. So Meta is a part of a bigger perspective, bigger marketing plan. It's just not one thing that will elevate your business. Gonna start always with a good product, and then all the other pieces have to come in place. So Meta can actually do its job, build awareness, and still help you close sales. So thank you, guys. That was great. I'll be summarizing it on my LinkedIn. And we're going to be releasing the recording of the session, but not immediately, just to make sure that people who are here actually had some benefit. And thank you for your time. That was amazing. And hope to meet you in other circumstances. So bye-bye. Bye to everyone.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. Thank you.